Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Inside the Dressing Room powered by Extreme. I'm your host Dhaka, and with me today I have Ahmed Shaikh, our resident football expert. We're going to talk about the newfound happiness for football in Bangladesh, and with that, some darker shades. Shaikh, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Well, as I've mentioned, it's a great time to be a Bangladeshi football fan, as we all are. That's, of course, something we inherit. But from all the glitz and glory and all the optimism, there is a much darker side to it, right? We're going to talk about that, unfortunately, but this is something that we need to address. What we were talking about before the show, off camera, that these issues have been there and thereabouts for a long time.
সব মশার বিরুদ্ধে সুরক্ষা দিতে এলো বসুন্ধরা এক্সট্রিম অ্যারোসল মশার বিরুদ্ধে এক্সট্রিম সুরক্ষা
For a foreseeable future, I don't see a remedy for things like unprofessionalism, things like shortage in pipelines of players, coach issues. So, what your take on that? Let's talk about the coach issue first. Javier Cabrera, again, someone you don't like. But then again, jokes apart, do you think he has done all right for the last 2.5 years? And do you think, we talked about this in our yesterday show as a teaser for a bit, but let's expand on from that. You said now it's time for Cabrera to move on and maybe a better coach. But do you think, given the history of Bangladeshi coaches, foreign coaches will be interested in Bangladeshi job?
For any kind of football coach, the most lucrative job is an international team assignment. Whether a coach is going for a youth team or a professional team, they always look for an international experience because there are only 211 positions. So if there is a circular from BFF that they want a football coach, there will be lots of CVs coming in. But this is the place where BFF have to look very closely now, because previously they were appointing, there were some good coaches, some bad coaches, so that was not an issue. But now the eyes of media, local media and the international media is on Bangladesh, because the coach will be managing players of highest quality. So who will be there? What kind of a profile should be there? This is a very big question. So selecting a coach based on his experience and his qualifications, that is a very important factor now. So I think you also saw in the match that there was a lot of confusion regarding a substitution. And what I got to know that at what point there was a free kick that was happening. At the same time there were substitutions going on. But at one point there was Saad was going to be substituted. But at one point, Hamza came and discussed with Cabrera, and Cabrera changed it
and kept Saad on the field. So obviously, maybe Hamza did it for the better of the team. But should a coach listen to an on-field player for substitution, or does he have to have his own idea to implement on the field? So on these kind of small situations, you need a coach who is commanding, authoritative, and who knows how to deal things in a match. So previously we have seen that Cabrera's decision making on substitutions or the starting 11 is always questionable, and everybody is raising fingers on those points. So from my point of view, I think now we need someone who is tactically very efficient, very authoritative, and can manage the team very well. Right. Shaikh, on the hindsight, if we look at Peter Butler, the women's coach, he's getting results, and fingers are, I'm not going to say no fingers is pointed at him, but less number of fingers is pointed at him. Do you see a dichotomy here, or a contrast of how the media is treating them both differently?
At first there were questions on Butler's also, but what Butler did is he saw the vision which is going forward, because all the players that are now not in the squad, they were at the age of retiring, so their efficiency was not that much, and he wanted some players who are work rate is very good. So he was very clear with his position and his points, and he made changes on that base, and he also performed.
not only he was having issues, but he in the middle of all of this, he performed to a great level because he drew 2 matches with Jordan, which is not an easy task if we consider from our point of view.
Away
ground,
fixture,
not even in the home ground situation. So from that point of view, I would say that yes, he had like turbulence in his road, but yet he managed and now performing well. So in that way, he is okay.
Like Shaikh, it's interesting that you've mentioned that Butler brought some results, some sort of results, positive results in the camp. But then again, mind you, the team he is playing with has been playing for the last 10, 12 years together from the age levels, under 15s, 17s, 19s and the national team. Coming back to the Bangladesh men's football team, do you see a similar sort of pipeline growing up and to serve Bangladesh in the next 5 or 7 years? Why I'm asking this, because a lot of debate has been going on that there should be a balance between the splurge of foreign recruits and homegrown talents. What's your take on that?
The take is in Bangladesh, the local players who come to the scene, they basically have gone through their own hurdles rather than having a set platform to perform. Because in Bangladesh, to be very frank, the local football, it doesn't have any proper structure. It's going on its somehow or the other, and it doesn't follow the AFC and FIFA guidelines how we should structure a football league in the whole country. So whoever is coming up, he's coming up by anyhow like trying different platforms, different methods, whatever is available. So that's why the player is scarce. Like it's not that much player in the pipeline. But then again, whoever is coming, the level is not that high. So that is why we as supporters or the organizers, we are more inclining to the like foreign-based players who are playing abroad. So that is the reason. So if we can like make the structure well, where the like a player from very remote area can perform with his talent, and we can actually figure that out and put him in the top level, that kind of a structure needs to be done for Bangladesh.
Shaikh, here comes an interesting point. Bangladeshi football, the league system is not new. If I go back to the yesteryears, it's been going around for 70 years. Wanderers, Dhaka Mohammedan, with BJMC, all the teams with Wari still exist, Wanderers still exist. These are old clubs. But do you think where a federation or a culture or a system could not produce or could not create a professional structure in 70 years, they could create something very quickly? I am a disbeliever of that theory that you were propagating for, that if we have a structure, then young kids will come up and they will serve the national team. I'm an advocate for a system that is already set up professionally somewhere else. Players are playing over there in a professional structure, learning the trade, learning the tactics, learning everything. We have the examples, Hamza, Shamit Shomes, Cuba Mitchells, who will, inshallah, will play for Bangladesh very soon. To pick them from there, and they can represent their country on their will. We are not forcing anybody to. And why am I saying this? Most of the national teams, top teams, let alone the top teams, in fact, teams ranked maybe a couple of tier above Bangladesh, Sri Lanka's, Indonesia's and Malaysia's, they are following the same pattern, hiring foreign recruits, not from the local leagues, as their local leagues is not as strong as the foreign leagues. Do you agree on this theory that we can also follow that model and be successful? Because what you said, I do not believe in that system, that Bangladesh will fix all that problem which has been going on for 6-7 decades, create a professional system, create a professional platforms for players. As you've mentioned, that we know how much the players go through personal struggles, financial, health-wise, fitness-wise, preparation-wise. They don't have anything.
True.
Do you believe that it will be solved that quickly, that we can have a good football future in the next 5 or 10 years?
No, not really. It's very hard to do a quick fix. The quick fix is basically bringing the players from outside. So that's what's happening. But to talk about the league structure, it's we call it a professional league, and it's also a professional league as it says. But the thing is, it's not a Bangladesh league. It's a Dhaka league.
Well,
the players,
also,
the teams.
Shaikh, just to interrupt you, in a professional league, the champion team fails to qualify for the AFC Champions League just because they don't have a license. And the club is not a new club. It's Mohammedan Sporting Club. They've been playing for 70 years. Now tell me.
The reason is, first of all, I was saying about the league structure. It's Dhaka league. It's not Bangladesh league, because a club in Chittagong or Sylhet doesn't know how to be in the professional league, because there is no proper pyramid or no proper pathway for a club from remote area to the top tier level. So that is one thing. And another thing is, if you consider the 80s and 90s, our football structure was on the right path, maintaining the same facts and figures and structures of the world football. But from 90s, they were derailed. FIFA went in one way and Bangladesh went in another way. And we didn't upgrade it ourselves. And what FIFA suggested is to have a club licensing. Because with the club licensing, with the criteria that a club has to fulfill,
right.
If you go and if you fulfill those,
you can maintain a certain standard.
And you can automatically be a good professional club, because the amount of paperwork or amount of work that you have to go and do for the club will automatically strengthen up the club. So the problem is the clubs do not really feel that much interested in doing the club licensing, which they should. And the only two clubs who are doing that seriously are going to the international tournaments.
Right.
So this is where we are like talking for the last 5 or 6 years that people from the clubs should concentrate on that factor.
Also, Shaikh, another point you mentioned is very interesting, that in the 70s and 80s, we had a structure. Did we? I mean, till now, none of the Bangladeshi clubs could figure out a revenue model. They have to be run on subsidies. Each year, someone has to, a benefactor from here and there, a company, a person puts in some funds, they buy players, they run the league, they buy the equipment or everything. The club runs like that. Yet, till now, we don't have a professional revenue system, a marketing system for a club. Where do I find a merchandise for my favorite club? You tell me. We don't have merchandise. Yes. I cannot wear a nice jacket of my favorite local club, right? Yes. You've been in England. We were talking about that just prior to the show. We'll finish on that note. Just describe the football system, the community-based footballing culture that is in England, that we've talked about very briefly, for our fans to understand that where we are and how far we are behind on that community football system.
Okay, first to say that it was like what is in England previously, around the 80s. There used to be jersey sponsors. Mohammedan used to wear Star. You know, it was a cigarette company. So there was jersey sponsors, and there was like even stadium tickets, like season tickets. There was a thing called season tickets, which eventually got erased. But yes, that was at that time, but which they don't follow at this moment. But now slowly people are realizing that they need to do.
They need to figure out a revenue model,
something like that. But if you talk about England, and we always say that England is the ideal structure for football. And what happens is, like in England, from any remote area, if you start playing and if you start winning, you can go to the top level. For an example, you can take about Wrexham. They're a Wales club who were, I think, not even in the professional league, but within 3 or 4 years, they are in the touching distance of the English Premier League. Yeah. Right. So this Wrexham or any other club, they are based on a community, based on an area, based on a city. Where
like small teams like Huddersfield Town, they played in the English Premier League, right?
English Premier League.
In fact, last year, there was a club, Preston.
Yes, Preston was there. Also Ipswich this year.
Is there.
So this is like...
These are not big towns, big communities,
very small
right?
Towns. Even in some districts, there are like 2 clubs. So the town is already divided. So what happens is, like all the people living in the area, they are very much attached to the club,
and they even work voluntarily for the club.
That's the important thing.
And even the schools, they are also attached with the primary schools, they are attached with the club. So the clubs have a different responsibility to look into the players who are playing for the schools. From there, they scout the players and they bring it in the youth system. So there is a whole system of togetherness, belonging.
Community feeling.
It's a belonging of things. So, for example, we have Chittagong Abahani, but they are based in Dhaka. So nobody will ever have that attachment of belonging
or that community feeling towards the club.
Towards the club. But this Chittagong Abahani, if they were based in Chittagong and if their home stadium was Chittagong, imagine the people belonging the club because just the Chittagong name
also
is
some
there.
Talents from Chittagong local leagues,
yeah.
right?
So that used to happen in 80s. People used to come from Khulna, from Chittagong, from Sylhet. Sylhet has a lot of football talent and there's a lot of football going on, but that's not professional. That's why it's not under the radar. But if we somehow can potentially take the amateur football, which is we call in Bangla CAP, if we take this amateur football and structure it properly, then we can get a lot of more players, a lot of more clubs coming into the system, which will eventually put people belonging to the club and which will eventually make our football better and more engaging. So that's where you don't naturally need a franchisee league. You just need to bring those clubs into the system, make a proper pyramid so that even a Sylhet...
Build the system from bottom up, right?
Bottom up, so that even a normal guy in the Sylhet knows that if I invest myself in the next 10 years to
I will reach somewhere.
Reach the Premier League and one day I can even play in AFC Cups. So this is a clear structure, clear pathway that needs to be there, which everybody should know. So that's where it will start growing on and on.
Right. Sounds fantastic on paper though.
Yeah.
We only can hope and pray
Yeah.
that Bangladesh football goes into the right direction. Thank you for your time today, Shai.
Thank you.
Folks, that was yet another episode of Inside the Dressing Room powered by Extreme. I'll be back soon with new topic, new discussion points. Till then, you take care.
For more updates, follow us on Facebook, subscribe our YouTube channel, get the latest update on www.daily-sun.com.